What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for Lines.com, Playpicks.com. I'm going to talk to you about the second Monday night football game between the Titans and the Broncos. You take a look right here. Over on Playpicks, we have a written breakdown. But before we get going, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everything we do is free over on the Lines, on the channel, obviously everything like that. So get notified every time we go live with a video. Give us a thumbs up and then let us know in the comments how you're going to play this game. If there's anything that maybe I leave out, let me know as well. We'll try to comment. We'll try to help out any way humanly possible with this thing. Weather, don't worry about it. Mid-70s, no wind, no rain. Nothing that we are really worried about there at all. This Titans team, we'll scroll down a little bit. This Titans team signed Vic Beasley, Jadeveon Clowney. Vic Beasley's not going to play in this game. He's going to sit out with a knee injury. They drafted Isaiah Wilson, an offensive tackle out of Georgia, which is big because they did lose Jack Conklin. So they're trying to replace that, but big task, obviously, for a rookie. Got to change a pace back in Darrington Evans. He will not play either. He has a hamstring injury. Also on the injury front for this Titans team, Adoree Jackson will not play due to a knee injury. On the Broncos side, year 2 of Drew Lock, right? That's the big story here. Pat Shurmur takes over as the new offensive coordinator for this team. The big news out of the last week and a half, Von Miller out for the season for this Broncos team. Freak injury at practice, unfortunate for him. Chris Harris is out of town. He's no longer there. They did trade for A.J. Bouye to try to help in the secondary there. They signed Melvin Gordon to a big contract at running back. So that being said, still looks like him and Phillip Lindsay are going to split time pretty evenly throughout the course of at least the beginning of the season here. On the wide receiver front, they drafted Jerry Jeudy. They drafted KJ Hamler. So they might get a little bit more extra run tonight as well, considering Cortland Sutton is very questionable to go in this game. So we will not know till probably like right before game time, that 90-minute, whenever we look and see how that's going to play out. But apparently he's got to do some tests, and then they would decide whether he'll be able to go or not. Over here at DraftKings, you can see the line sitting at 3 on the Texans, 41 on the total, 175 on the money line. You get plus 150 on the Broncos if you want to play them. Head over here to on FanDuel, it's at 3 as well, but you can get a little bit better money line if you wanted the Titans at 166, 40.5, so a half point lower over here. And then over here on BetMGM, you can kind of see where we sit as far as the spread. They do make you do a little fishing over here, which, whatever. But whenever you kind of look at what the spread is, we scroll down, you can see they are sitting at 3.5 now. So 3.5 on the Titans. So they have moved. They're even higher than everybody else here, 3.5 on the Titans. And what you can see, and we can show you one of the things that you can look at over here on DraftKings is how the line has moved. And you can see right here where we sat, opened up as the Broncos a 1.5 favorite. You can see point favorite a week ago. Then we continue to kind of see this thing toggle 6 days ago, 1 point favorite. And then boom, Von Miller news. This thing shifts all the way to them being an underdog for the Titans becoming a favorite here. And then you can see all the way up to where they are now. 3-point underdogs are the Broncos team after the news of Von Miller going down. So lots and lots there. Lots and lots of movement on one player getting injured and out for the season. On the offensive side of the ball for the Titans, guys, and I'll scroll down a little bit here if you want to read some of the things. Jack Conklin, as I mentioned, left in free agency. Big shoes to fill for him, one of the better offensive linemen out there. But everything revolves around Derrick Henry with this team, as we know. In 18 games last year, he ran for 75 yards in 14 of the 18 games. So at least 75 yards rushing in 14 of the 18 games that he played in last year. 12 games of at least 19 carries. So you can see he's just a giant workhorse, and as you would imagine. Broncos offense, Drew Lock, what's he going to do here in his second year, right? Big second year leap. His win-loss record was actually pretty good, but the actual stats, whenever you dig in, especially if you kind of like take away, there's one game against the Texans where J.J. Watt didn't play or anything. You kind of look into the stats themselves, and they weren't necessarily all that eye-popping, even though the win-loss record was pretty good. And then, of course, if Cortland Sutton sits, where are we going to be looking at right here? Lots of pressure on Tim Patrick, who's going to have to step up. And, of course, rookie Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler's he's been nursing an injury, so it probably wouldn't even be him. So Broncos offense a little bit in disarray in everything. On the Titan side of everything on the defensive front, look, 18th DVOA all said and done last year, 22nd against the pass, 11th against the run. So better against the run than they were against the pass. Pass rush graded out 28th by Pro Football Focus. That being said, I did mention they brought in Jadeveon Clowney. That should help them on that front. On the Broncos defensive side of the ball, how much is it going to affect this unit with being without Von Miller, right? I mean, this is not one of those deals where this happened a long time ago. This happened a week ago, so they're having to make an adjustment here without their best player on a week's notice here. They graded out the 26th best pass rush anyway with Miller. So now you got to do all this without him. DVOA, they did rank out 13th overall in defense, so not incredibly bad. Middle of the pack, basically, against both the pass and the run. So let's make a case for the over here. And if we wanted to play the over, we'd come over to DraftKings because we're getting that. We'd come over to FanDuel because we're getting that extra half point. So let's come over here and make a case for the over. One case for the over would just be the fact that if you take a look at this Titans team, they were incredibly efficient in the red zone. When they got into the red zone last year, they scored a touchdown on those red zone appearances 77.3% of the time. By comparison, Broncos, 47.6% of the time did they score a touchdown when they got in the red zone. So you can see just how good this Titans team was in the red zone. So do they get there a lot? Do they continue to put up points on the board? Do they continue to convert those chances into 6 and 7 as opposed to settling for 3, which is what happened a lot for the Broncos last year? Another case for the over would be here that this Broncos defense, with the loss of Von Miller, kind of disjointed here at the beginning of the season, trying to get things figured out in a week's notice, being without your best player. Titans are able to do kind of whatever they want to against this team. And then conversely, Drew Lock, and then play some garbage time, get some garbage time, and maybe even come through with some garbage time scoring for you as well. Case for the under, so we'd come back over to DraftKings on this one if we wanted to play the under, where we're sitting at 41. So the under 41 over here on DraftKings is just this Broncos offense. If Courtland Sutton's not able to go, obviously their stud number 1 veteran receiver there, and you're having to rely on the likes of Tim Patrick and rookies Jerry Jeudy, who apparently out of training camp still had a little bit of work to do. Can this offense get anything going? I mean, it's not the greatest pass defense in the world here with this Titans team. That said, they did add Jadeveon Clowney. They should have more pressure than they did last year. They should be able to be in Drew Lock's face a little bit more, and then he's having to turn to these secondary and third receivers as opposed to having Courtland Sutton out there. Maybe they can't get anything going. Everything's just non-existent for this Broncos offense. The other thing for the under, if you want to make a case for the under, could just be the fact that Derrick Henry just chews up the clock, right? Just chew. Runs the ball, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4.5 yards, 5 yards, 4.5 yards. And basically this thing is over before you know it. Because as we know, that just keeps the clock ticking, churning, and Derrick Henry just kind of does Derrick Henry things. The other thing that can keep this thing under 2 is if the red zone struggles continue for the Broncos. As I mentioned, scored a touchdown on fewer than 48% of their trips to the red zone. If you continue to settle for 3 as opposed to 6 and 7, then it's tough to get some of these numbers over sometimes. So if you want to think that continues for this team, that's another reason that you could look at the under. And again, the 41 plays here at DraftKings as opposed to the 40.5 over on the other side of things. Let's talk about a prop bet that I'm interested in here. Actually, I have 2 of them that I'm looking at. One is Derrick Henry, anytime scorer, right? So if you kind of look here, we can look at anytime. You can look at anytime scorers. They have that as a prop. You can see anytime score. I'm going to go over to DraftKings and look at 167. I'm very, very, very highly interested in Derrick Henry anytime score here. I believe in this Titans team anyway. Derrick Henry, and this is not I'm not misspeaking here. Over 80% of Derrick Henry's touchdowns have come in wins. So he's a front runner for sure. If the team's winning, he's scoring touchdowns. He's the reason they're doing it. I'll lay the 167 here for an anytime touchdown with Derrick Henry, because we also mentioned they're incredibly efficient in the red zone as well. So when they get there, they score. And when they score, Derrick Henry has been doing the scoring a lot for them. So I'm gonna lay the big juice here for anytime score on Derrick Henry. If you want something fun, you could always do first touchdown if you want to. As more of a fun bet, and you're getting plus money on that. But I'll lay the 167 here. The other thing that I'm looking at down here is we get to rushing yards, and whenever you kind of take a look here at rushing yards, guys, I believe that there is going to be a little bit more pressure on Drew Lock than normal. I lean towards the over here. Also, I think I'm going to put the over on Tannehill, 13.5 yards. Tannehill's a pretty athletic dude, right? He is a guy that played wide receiver in college, was a quarterback, converted wide receiver, back to quarterback. 13.5 yards here. He could pick that up on 1 or 2 rushes. He averages kind of right in the 3 a game, 2 point something a game. So I'm going to get, again, small play here, but Tannehill over on his rush yards. I actually lean over on Lock as well, just because I think that, plays break down, things don't go as planned, and then he kind of takes off and runs. And the other thing would just be, again, I'm looking for this to go the Titans' way, and so you kind of see quarterbacks, they'll drop back in garbage time, nothing there, they'll take the 7 yards, they do the little slide, nothing there, they kind of run up, take the 4 yards and slide. So lean towards the over on Drew Lock as well. But the main play in my account, and I hate giving out stale lines or something, but these week 1 lines have been out for a month. And so with that, I had the Titans at plus 2.5, at plus 2, actually, sorry. So I had the Titans at plus 2 when this thing first hit. It settled at 1 and stayed at 1.5 forever. So you could have gotten the Titans as a dog in this thing up until a week ago. Actually till 5 or 6 days ago. That being said, I still like the Titans. Hopefully, this thing doesn't keep moving, but it does. Look, with the juice as it sits right now, it looks like it's going to keep on moving. So you're going to need to get down fairly quick if you do want to get on them. I just, I like this Titans team anyway. Like I said, I liked them when they were dogs. I certainly still think that they're going to win this game with the way things are going to play out. I don't think Cortland Sutton plays. An AC joint sprain is pretty bad news. And so looking for this to be more of a Titans control the game, control the ball, and definitely get out of there with at least a field goal win. Worst case scenario, you're pushing, but hopefully we get a touchdown win, and you're winning that bet right there. But again, full disclosure, am in on a better number on this Titans team, and actually I'm closing out a teaser with the Titans as well, up to plus 7.5. So that's what I'm going to be looking for tonight. I do like those prop bets. I do still like the Titans, just not as much at the 3. If for any strange reason late money comes in on the Broncos and you get it under 3, I would still play the Titans for sure. No real thought on the total. It's actually right at where I had it. Was kind of right in that 41-point range right there. And it was kind of a runaway for me. I see no value whatsoever on the total, and there's a lot of volatility in this as well. The Titans might boat race the Broncos in this, depending on how things go. And so no play on me for the totals there. So going to be the Titans or pass for me, guys, and going to be those prop bets or pass for me as well. Definitely a pass on the total. Head over to the lines if you need anything for your sports betting, sportsbook accounts. Just click on your state. You'll be able to get it there. Take advantage of the multiple books. As you can see, the lines change, the big changes, all the different things like that. So you're going to want to be as smart as you can about all of this and take advantage of all the offers that are there. Give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the page. And like I said, everything's free. We'll be back all season long, guys. Good luck on your bets tonight.